So if you watch my cable press video, this is that next level working into the row with that same exact setup. So I got that cable or that band, that pec shoulder level. I got my handle here, and that's general setup that we have for a lot of our exercises here. So now for the row, this is the ultimate posterior chain exercise because I can stress my posterior chain being upright. And that's something a lot of people struggle with. We always feel like, oh, to get my glutes, I need to be in this low squat or hinge position. But with this row, we can stay upright and get those same tensions. And that's ultimately what we want, right? Because we move in this upright fashion. We're all working on our posture because we're constantly seeing our posture degrade over time in the positions we're in. So this is a really great exercise, not only to just train that posterior chain, but to work on that posture. So the way I'm going to set this up, I'm facing that cable. And if I'm pulling with my left hand, I want to be like slightly to the right of that cable. If I'm pulling with my right, I want to be slightly to the left, right? I always want to make sure I'm not pulling that cable right into me. I want to pull it to the side. So the way to set this up, I want to let the cable pull me into that rotation. So you can see here, right? Like here I'm straight. I'm letting the cable pull me into that rotation. Notice my hips though, right? I'm not letting my hips go. I'm keeping that nice linear stance with the lower body. So now that I'm in the rotation, I want to row just like a quarter of the way. Right in that little quarter, I already feel the opposite glute. So if you're rowing with your left, you feel that right glute automatically tense up. So right from there, I row, I feel that right glute. I can adjust my posture a little bit to get nice and tall. And then from here, I want to continue to row until my elbow basically reaches my rib cage. Once I get to the rib cage, I now want to use my core to get that thoracic rotation, and then I pull that cable just a little bit more. So I do it on this side. I'm linear. I let the cable win. Little quarter row. I feel that left glute tense up. I'm going to set my posture. I'm going to continue to row, but I keep the rotation. And then once I get elbow back, now I move through that thoracic rotation to get that rep. So row, staying rotated, and then I shoot that like bow and arrow at the end. That's kind of the best cue I have for that. So I'm kind of like a bow and arrow here. I start the row, I rotate, and then I'm shooting that bow and arrow on the other side. So now, biggest mistake that people make with this is they don't set their hips up correctly. We got to realize, like, the way we do a lot of these functional exercises, we need to build the foundation from the ground up. So if I'm like kind of not really into my feet, not into my knees, not into my hips, then like I'm going to be compensating like crazy because I got to create that base for me to swivel on, for that rib cage to swivel on and really feel the core in that upper body. So what people do is they'll kind of be too forward with their legs. I want you to think, I want a nice vertical shin angle. So I got my knees basically right above the ankles, hips back just a little bit. Start here. It's okay to start hinged. This is an athletic position. So if you need to kind of be here, I feel that opposite glute. I want to keep that glute on through that motion. But staying a little hinge here, this is great, right? I don't want to be like this where I'm kind of leaning back into it. I don't want the hips back, that nice athletic position, and I'm pulling the weight to me, not using my weight to get the resistance back there. So that's one of people's biggest mistakes with this. The other thing that they'll do is they just won't turn, right? They'll just kind of row right here where there's no thoracic rotation. I might feel my shoulder, I might feel my lat. I'm not getting the core involved, and I'm not feeling the hips too much there either. The more we rotate, the more everything in the body starts to work. We are built for rotation. So this is where I want to be. So again, it's okay. Start in that lower stance. Feel that opposite glute. Keep that glute on through the motion. Don't let them give out. And then as you start to get better with it, now we start to progress by getting taller, getting in that more vulnerable position, that vulnerable posture. And then the more we fight against it, the more upright we're going to start to be, because when we're done the exercise, our brain now recognizes, hey man, you can use these muscles to support you. And that's what we want. So I'm right here. Let's go through a few reps. I got my hip stance. I already kind of feel my glutes. I row a little bit. I feel it intensify. And then now really lifting the sternum. I want to keep the glute tension and just let that upper body work. Getting that lat going, working the core. One of the best exercises we can do. So go ahead, guys, give that one a shot. Look for some of my other functional training videos here.